What is up guys, Greedy Knight here with a definitive Charge Blade tier list for version 3.0. I'll be ranking every Charge Blade based on damage using the best sets. Timestamps down below, let's get into it. Valstrax is the strongest armor in the game for Charge Blade, so if a weapon can't use it, then it's automatically in B tier. Since Dragon Blight negates every non-dragon element and status, all element files are barred from this set. Impact weapons with status and element can be used with Valstrax armor at the cost of losing their gimmick, so I will rank them in both Valstrax builds and builds focusing on their niche. Any Rampage weapon not mentioned in the list is worse than an existing weapon, so there is no reason to build them. If you play Charge Blade in any capacity, you need these two Charge Blades in your equipment box and fully upgraded. Nargacuga is the best Savage Axe weapon in the game due to having natural white sharpness, 40 affinity, and access to protective polish or master's touch. Rajang is the best super spam weapon due to not having negative affinity, having 240 raw, and access to dulling strike. In terms of talismans, you need something with points in artillery or bludgeoner to get load shells on the Valstrax build using Rajang. Diablos and Rampage are knockoff versions of Rajang and Nargacuga. Diablos has access to Dulling Strike and 1 level 3 slot, allowing it to match Rajang in everything except affinity, but it can fit in additional skills. Rampage can be tailored to be either Super Spam or Savage Axe using the following builds. It is slightly weaker than the S tiers in exchange for the ability to layer. Dragon is the only element that can be used with Valstrax armor, making it the strongest element weapon type in the game from a damage standpoint. It depends on elemental weaknesses, but it hits hard in those matchups. Several Charge Blades in this tier have a secondary gimmick, but they deal more damage by going for Dragonheart. The top 5 weapons in this tier can all hit white sharpness and at least 70 affinity. Protective polish depends on your charm, but you can fit 2 decorations using any double level 2 slot or better. These weapons closely mirror Nargacuga, trading off some affinity or attack. The remaining 3 weapons are only here because they can be used with Valstrax and crits. These are pretty weak super spam candidates because they are in direct competition with Rajang, Diablos, and Rampage, with no meaningful way to make up the difference in damage. Raw attack and green sharpness is the name of the game for blunt, so anything less than 240 is in this tier. These weapons are using builds that focus on their specific niche, so there will be repeat placings for status and hybrid centric builds. Status is weaker online due to inflated thresholds based on player count. Volvidon is the best weapon in this tier because it can immobilize a monster at least twice a hunt, giving strong support in a multiplayer setting. Playing this weapon is pretty broken because you can loop, KO, paralysis, and exhaust to make sure the monster stays down. Fire and Thunder have a good matchup spread, so these are the best picks for Fire and Thunder due to their damage. Ice counters Diablos, Rajang, and Zenogre, allowing these weapons to be useful in endgame. Kushala is the better weapon stat-wise, but if you want element file damage, the Rampage Charge Blade hits hard enough in terms of cutting and ice. Teostra is the best Savage Axe weapon for blast, while Magnum Hollow has the added damage from its soul skill and Hellfire landmines for super spam. Rampage Sleep is leagues better than Somnicanth due to having better raw and the various sharpness types. You can tailor it to match your playstyle, be it Savage Axe or Super Spam. Poison is the worst of the statuses because its damage is inferior to Blast and offers no additional support outside of negating Kushala's Wind. Water has very few notable matchups, thus making it the worst element of the 5. Mizutsune hits a respectable amount of white and has enough affinity to forgo max might, allowing you to use protective polish if you want. It's similar to Kushala's stat-wise, but it is only in C tier due to its element type. Rampage Charge Blade is the same build as the others, just with water. These weapons desperately needed one more upgrade but didn't receive them. Narwa and Zenogre output more damage than K-Captain. Rathian, Tobi Kadachi, Baryoth, and Somnicanth can't compete with the many versions of Rampage. Its ability to hit white sharpness and 200 plus raw causes these weapons to be inferior. Diuratotus is ranked this low because it's a failure as a crit element charge blade. These weapons are absolute garbage. Their base stats are so abysmal, no sane hunter will use them for any meta or off meta sets. Izuchi hits long white post handicraft, and has 15 affinity, allowing it to be paired with Valstrax armor and Savage Axe. Even with the boost, it doesn't break 220 raw, which is pathetic. Cuddly Cat has paralysis, but with horde damage. Shield Rod is the worst charge blade in the game due to its raw and the fact that it's water element. Like if this video was helpful to you, consider subscribing if you are new to the channel and want to see more charge blade content like this. Comment down below any topic you want me to cover and I'll add it to the list. That's all I have for this one. Greedy Knight, signing out.